Hey guys, welcome back to another series on Vue.js. In this series, we are going to mostly focus on the Vue.js fundamental blocks, like a beginner to the Vue.js course. In the last video series, we built an application that's like with the intermediate knowledge of Vue.js, using the Axios and calling an API into the application and integrating and everything. But in this course, we are fully focusing on the basics of Vue.js and why the Vue.js got its popularity and misconceptions of Vue.js, and we are going to cover much more many topics. Yeah, let's get into the slides. This series is divided into two parts, like the theoretical part and the coding part. First, we will go through all the concepts of the Vue.js theoretically. Later, we start building a small application with all the concepts that we discussed. In this series, we are going to cover these main topics as agenda, the misconceptions of Vue.js, and a quick configurations, like how many ways we can configure the Vue.js, and the difference between the Vue CLI and a normal Vue app, and why Vue got popularity, and a baby steps to the Vue.js, and we'll build a small application so that you will know we'll build a small application, and I'm gonna show that application in the later, and the Vue.js recommendations. Okay, let's get in. The first point is Vue.js. Like these are the very basic questions that every a new developer who is going to learn the Vue.js need to come across. Like, is it a front-end library? Is it to learn? What is the purpose of learning the Vue.js? And is it better than the other frameworks in the market? Like there are the two popular frameworks in my opinion, like the React and Angular. And why the people will go for the Vue.js, and is it really worth learning? All these concepts we will cover in this video. Yeah, these are the solutions for the questions that we occurred in the last slide, like a brief slide that I prepared. But each of the concepts will go in detail. Like the first one is Vue.js is front end. Exactly, the answer is yes, because it's a very lightweight, easy, and progressive JavaScript framework for building the user interfaces. Like any other framework, like Angular or React, it's very lightweight. The how and even though it's a very lightweight, but it will support the many, almost all the features that the other frameworks are supporting. We can say that it's a versatile framework because of its ecosystem. There are many other core modules that is supporting the Vue.js. For example, the router for the state management, the vuex. These are all it's like a complementary modules. The Vue.js that makes more stabilized, lightweight, and got the popularity. And one more thing is like Vue.js is a developer friendly, because any person with the knowledge of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS can learn the Vue.js, because the Vue.js will follow the simple template HTML, CSS, JS, and templating system. Uh, yeah, you can come across in the later when we start building the application. And coming to the next point, is it easy to learn? Exactly. The answer is yes, because it follows very simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript approach to build the apps in the no time. Because it's an elegant framework, we can say. Any developer with the intermediate knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript can quickly spin up the Vue.js application and start play around with that. And coming to the how can we configure? We can configure in the two ways. Like for example, taking a normal index.html and injecting the Vue.js the script tag and start writing some JavaScript code. That's it. Your Vue.js application will be turned on. I'll show you in the next coming slides. And the next point, why it is used for. As the other front-end frameworks that we are using, the React and Angular, Vue.js also has the same purpose, that solves the real-time problems, and why it is used for. Like any other frameworks, the Angular or React, Vue.js is used for creating the modern web applications or the front-end applications. because without investing a lot of time and the resources, we can start with the Vue.js development. With the few resources that we have, we are good to go to start developing the applications by using the Vue.js. That is the advantage of the Vue.js. That is the reason it got a huge popularity, and because the developers are started testing its features, we can say that some of the features that makes the developers more attractive and start learning the Vue.js is like because of its flexibility. As we spoke earlier, Vue.js follows a very simple templating approach, the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. It does another point, it's the easy learning curve, because for any developers that who are learning or the who wanna learn the new framework, Vue.js is a perfect quick kickstart. And one more point is because of its rich ecosystem. Rich ecosystem in the sense that Vue.js has a very strong core modules that makes this framework more robust and that scalable for building the large complex data driven applications. Those are like vuex, the state management module, and the view router, and these are the two main core modules. And because of its optimal performance and size efficient, as we spoke, the Vue.js file is less than 20 KB, so that we can know how lightweight it is, and it can be integrated into any applications with a simple like a inject the script file of the Vue.js. That's it. You can start writing some Vue.js code, so that it's very easy for the quick integration with the other apps. And one more feature that the Vue.js popularity is because of its reactivity. It's a new word, but you're gonna come across in the upcoming when we start building the application. It's a very huge concept, and we will go in detail like behind the hoods. What's the reactivity? Like as we say that uh, declarative rendering and two-way data binding, all this will be part of the reactivity, and we will see the behind the hoods what's happening and how the Vue.js handles the reactivity. And one more, because of its well-written documentation. The document is very clear, and the Vue.js team is constantly updating the documentation, because any framework that has a good documentation will lead the developer like a clear way so that they can start implementing, because the documentation need to be very clear so that the people will understand and start implementing the things. And the growing community support, the Vue.js community is heavily increasing on monthly and daily basis. If we see the stats according to the GitHub from 2018 to 2019, you can see the drastical change and drastical curve of how the Vue.js got its popularity because of all these features that we discussed. It's flexible and easy to learn, and the quick integration, optimal performance, rich ecosystem, and well-written documentation. And Vue.js supports the server-side rendering. Vue.js team is really improving a lot in terms of server-side rendering. And another point is Vue.js is good. In my opinion, based upon the points that we discussed and the community support and the vast increasing growing community, all this, I can say that it's very good. Hypothetical point is Vue.js is better than others. Like if we can say any framework, each framework has its own pros and cons, and each framework will solve the real-time problem in a different approach. I would strongly recommend learning Vue.js. This is a more hypothetical point because each framework has its own pros and cons. It solves the problems in an easier and better way compared to the other frameworks. And you can see the stats of the Vue.js in the GitHub or on the internet. Because based on that, we can say that it's an each developer opinion to conclude is Vue is better than the others or not, and is Vue.js is worth learning. Yes, I would strongly recommend learning Vue.js because I worked with Vue.js for multiple projects and enjoyed a lot while building the apps. Because it will add value to the developer career and because of its growing community support, the opportunities also getting increased, so that it will be a new curve in the career, and within the no time you can start building the applications, and you can have something for your client that will adds the value. And these are the sum of the points that makes the Vue.js, how best the Vue.js is and how popular and how easy. And these are the very frequent misconceptions for a new developers, anyone who wanna start learning the Vue.js. I hope my points will add some value and will clear out some queries that you have while starting the applications. In the next series, we will start building a small application. Just I will show you the preview of the application, how it will be, and what are the concepts that we are going to cover in that application. Yeah, this is a basic product detail page. Now it is completely programmed in the Bootstrap. But when we started building the application, we will completely change this application into the Vue.js application, and we will make the image should be dynamic. When you click on when you toggle changing the product thumbnails, the respective image will be updated here. And when you click on the add to cart, you will have the incremental cart value and the details. We will do a list rendering by using the vfer directive. Directive is a new keyword we're gonna discuss in the further series. When you toggle the radio button and all the stuff, we are completely going to rebrand this by using the Vue.js. Yeah, that's it for this video, and see you in another video, and thanks for watching.